Come, let us join hands everywhere you are. Let's fight poverty and save the children of this world. Hi, my name is George. Just wanted to send a message to all my Facebook friends and all my social media friends on YouTube, and Facebook, and Instagram, Twitter, everywhere you are. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you. I appreciate you being my friends, and I read your stories. I read everything that you send me. Now, I also wanted to use this opportunity to bring the situation that is going on right now around the world to attention to all my friends. And we've all known and we've seen in the news what is going on with COVID-19. This is serious. Now, I just want to emphasize the message that has been going on the news and all through social media and everywhere you've been reading it, that some people didn't take it serious at the beginning. Even governments didn't take it serious. But I just want to emphasize that it's very, very serious. Now, just to give you a bit of background, I live in Spain. And many of you probably have noticed in the few days that have been going on what is happening in Spain. This is serious. So I thought that it would be really important for me to record a message for all my people, not only my social media friends, but also families back home in Africa. I come from Uganda, a beautiful country. They call it the Pearl of Africa. So it's so beautiful. Now, we have so many families that some of them are not as privileged as we are here in Europe. So I just wanted to take this opportunity and encourage you also, but also to let you know what the situation is, that it is serious. Because sometimes we listen to statistics. Statistics have been going on in the news and on internet. Usually we don't take these things serious until it happens to you. And now, just to bring to your attention, the past 4 days, the death rate in Spain has been over 800 people. Now, if I say 800 people, you might think in a month. No, a day. That is a lot of people. It's not easy. Now, when you imagine that those people who are dying, they have families. They live, some of them are mothers, some of them are fathers, others are grandparents, and, even young ones. So I want to say that this, obviously, as you've been reading, it doesn't only affect the young, the old. It also affects the young. Just now, today, I was watching Sky News, and they did mention a 13-year-old boy dying from COVID-19. And all these people, so in England, I've already seen on the news, 13-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. So it goes through the entire spectrum of age groups. Now, the message I want to pass across all of you, my friends, is that isolate yourself. Now, we in Spain, we are right at the heart of it. We know what is going on. It is serious. A lot of countries didn't take it serious, but later on they are waking up. We've been on lockdown, total lockdown for the past, 2.5 weeks. I think we're beginning our 3rd week now. Now, generally, as human beings, we're stubborn. So the reason I'm passing this on to you guys is that so you realize that this is saving our lives, not only ours, but our descendants, our families, our grandparents, and all that. Now, the specialists, they research and discover that yes, this can be survived if you isolate yourself. It reduces the rate of infection. Obviously, that's what we need to do. But I've seen even on internet and people complaining, now they've blocked this, now we can't do this, we can't do that. That's life. We can't do this. But you think about people that walk out of the house just to go to a shopping center or a supermarket, to go through so many people just to buy a loaf of bread.
That's why they were saying that, before you get out, think and plan. Why are you getting out? Is it that important? So here in Spain, we're used to it. We're quite happy. And the good thing, the Spanish are really, really good, because the police recently was driving through, singing for the families, because we know that kids, if they are locked up, in a house, in a home, and not moving out. And we live in a world that we call it a mobile world that we usually live in. So it's very hard. I know and I understand that it's very hard to stay at home and and not move out, and you feel like a chicken locked in one area. So, but eventually, the first few days might be hard, but eventually you get used to it. So we got used to it, and the Spanish are really, really doing a great job. Now, personally, I wanna, I want us all to recognize the people that are really standing in a gap for us. Now, they said lockdown, nobody on the streets, and people go home, stay away. If you're sick, isolate even from your family. Can you imagine? I've been watching news whereby a father who feels like he's infected isolates themselves in the same house. You have kids, and then you lock yourself in one room. You can't get out because kids, you don't want to infect. But that is what it takes to save the generation. We need to do whatever it takes. Now, why am I saying all this? Is that everybody, you had it everywhere. It's, as I said, it's usually easy to hear statistics on the news and you don't take any notice, because we always know that, especially we grown up seeing that every day you see bad news. No good news tends to turn up, if the good news carries that much among us, So, yes, we're used to it and we can skip it, but this is really dead serious. Now, in Spain, just to get the picture of it, they ran out of morgue space where to put the bodies. They even resorted to, acquiring space from a nice factory, just to store the bodies there. That tells you what is going on. It's not a joke. Now, I've been reading some statistics. Now, some of you, and I'm saying this to also my people who are in Africa, because you might say, I've been listening to some of the friends. I call them up and say, you guys need to take care. You need to, at least it doesn't spread there as much as it is here. They say, no, that's European diseases. They won't affect us. We have sunshine here. The weather is good. Guess what? In Spain, we have better, really, really good sunshine. Italy, they have good weather as well, but they're dying. Now, it is there in Africa. The only worry that I'm worried about, everybody, because I know a lot of you, my social media friends, come from Africa, and we Africans sometimes tend to be a little bit stubborn as well, because everybody says so many things and we don't take notice. And somebody said to me that sometimes you tell a kid when the kid is growing up that fire will burn you, and the kid knows that if it burns, and it has seen people, the kid has seen people being burnt or whatever, but they never learn until they go and touch that fire and test it and feel the heat. The next time they don't go back. So sometimes there are people that are like that. Now, they warn us, the governments have been warning us, get off the streets, and again you find somebody squeezing and trying to cheat. It becomes a game, but you're playing with your life. So, Africa, what is happening here? It is real. What I want to emphasize to my friends in Africa, my families, because I do have families in Africa and I worry about them. As a friend of mine recently, when I spoke to them and said, are you guys, I've heard they blocked out, are you guys isolating yourselves? Said, no. As soon as they announced, in fact, my dad organized a group of his friends to come and visit. And I said, are you crazy? It's because we are generally stubborn. We are born to be like that. It's human nature to do the opposite of what you're told. But just know that in doing that, you are putting all your family members at risk, because in Africa, they're not as advanced. Most of the countries in Africa are not as advanced as the European. Now, you think about what I've just mentioned. 800 people. I want to give you some perspectives. Just imagine, because in Africa, we go church. We have church and we value church, and people still go to church in numbers. In the Western, yes, they do, but not as much as Africa. Why? Because in Africa, most people believe God for everything. Believe God for daily bread, believe God for everything. So when we're in the West and find that food is always there, there's nothing to believe in, nothing takes you back, and nothing puts you on your knees. So in Africa, everything puts them to their knees. But in the Europe, for example, you can get a fever and you feel bad or whatever, and pick up a phone call and ring an ambulance, and it comes and takes you to hospital. Now you think about somebody who deep in Africa, in Masaka, Uikwe, in some of the parts of, that are remote, that where the nearest doctor is even 300, 400, or 200 miles away. How are they going to survive? So the only way we can avoid things happening that, is by staying away and social distancing. Now, I believe, I'm going to tell you about the statistics, but I believe one of the things that probably, this is my opinion, that one of the things that probably has also contributed a lot to, seeing this much death rate in Italy and Spain. Italy, they were on 900 a day recently, is probably the way we live. I grew up in Africa, and I found that, part in Africa, and I found that most of our families are close, which is what it should be. Families are close, grandma, grandpa, kids visit grandma every day, they go see. In fact, when a grandmother becomes old, or grandfather, they go to stay with their sons so they can take care of the grandkids and all that. That is the family together. Whereas when you come to countries like Europe or Britain, for example, because I've lived in Britain, yes, people grow. Very few stay with their families because their families are busy. So they go in people and in an elderly home and things like that. So family, they only rely on the kids visiting them every now and then, which is different. In Spain, yes, those are there, but also they are more close. So the old can live with the family and they're always there. So there's that family closeness, family togetherness that is the best thing in life, but also could be detrimental to you. Only because if a disease catches one person, it means the entire family is going to get it. Why? Because in Spain, we meet, we celebrate, they meet for parties, they meet every week and have a meal together as a family. In my own family here, the grandma, grandkids, or, grandpa, they make dinner for the family every weekend, and we meet and celebrate and have a barbecue and things like that. Those things go on in this culture. But then when this happens, that's where trouble comes in, because it takes one young man bringing it up, probably not even showing signs, and spread it to the entire family. Now, I'm so worried about what is Africa, because I was watching on Sky recently, and they were showing us some pictures from South Africa where they were telling people to get off the street, and the people were just looking at them like this, feeling like, of course, some countries that are being oppressed or whatever it is, they're already fed up with the police and the army. If they see them to the street, they don't want to, so it takes a big step. Now, some of them are just ignorant. They don't know what to do. They tell them, get off the street, and they are known every single day. They spend their time with their families. And you, out of all places, you come and separate them. Some don't even look at the news to know what is going on. They just see one day an army group comes on the street and trying to separate everybody. Of course, they're going to take it negatively. But it's up to those that are educated to explain it to the elderly that don't understand that today if they tell you, please, isolate yourself, keep yourself safe, but then you make a party, so they need to be explained to. And I urge all of you, my Facebook friends, to talk to your parents, talk to your, grandparents and those people back home. It's up to us. If you are outside in these diaspora community, call back your families and explain to them what is really happening, because some of them don't even follow news. Now, this is very important. Statistics. So you see, Because if you imagine 800 people dying, now, as I said, in Africa, we have pastors, I'm an artist, and we have artists, they get big gatherings. Now, if you have a church and you manage to accumulate 900 members in your church, I believe you are considered as a big church. If you gather every morning, every Sunday morning, and you have 800 or 900 people in your church, that's a big church. Now, I want to put you to the challenge. Close your eyes. Imagine you have that group of people, 900 people. Now, open your eyes and discover that they're all dead. That's what I'm trying to say, is that 900 people dying in a single day is not a joke. 800 people dying in a single day is not a joke. And doesn't stop there. Repeating itself. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Now, England, what you must understand is that it all starts slow. But unless we listen to what the professionals and what the scientists are saying and try to stay safe, this is not going to change. It's just going to be worse. Because in Africa, as I said, we don't have as much advanced medical systems as they have in Europe. Now, if Spain, England, America, Italy, these countries have got some of the, the most advanced medical systems in the world. If this virus puts them to their knees, what do you expect in Africa? Now, some of the rulers, of course, some of the leaders, and they don't really care about their people. But then, what is there to rule when you have no people? So, it's up to us as human beings to step ahead, to as they call it, pull up your socks and face this with wisdom. There are a lot of advices that they say, but statistically, let me see if I can find some statistics here. Where's my map? There you go. I've just typed COVID-19 into Google. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. That's Google, and it came up with a map where it already is happening. Just to read it, worldwide, confirmed cases. Now, you must understand that these are cases probably that have either contacted the hospitals or been to hospitals and, that have been highlighted. So 882,068. And those that are recovered is only 185 out of the 882,000. Now, that means there's a lot of people still battling with it. Now, we only pray that God will take them out of it. The dead, 44,136 worldwide. Now, I'm going to break it down again. Coming back to, of course, you've heard on the news that Spain and Italy, we are on the top of the list. So, with Italy having 12,428 deaths from COVID-19. And then Spain, we are there with 9,053. Now, and it goes on and on and on. And there are loads and loads of in the list here. Now you think about that. This is crazy. This is really, really crazy. So, of course, we saw Italy going on, and then tough measures started being introduced in Spain as well. But it had been going on in China. Why were they not introduced immediately? Why? Because some people were thinking, oh, it's going to stay in China. Maybe not. Maybe, and people were trying to study it. Now it's spreading. I know my country, by these statistics, they said, I think it's about 44 or something like that, that are already discovered, and there's no death at the moment. I don't know, by the time I'm speaking, there might be, but there's no death at the moment. That doesn't rule you out. So still take precautions and isolate yourselves. There are a few prevention measures, they say here, that to be able to try and fight, because there's no cure for it yet. By you slowing down the rate of infection or the people not getting it from you, you make it easy. At least you give the doctors and the professionals time to research and try and come up with a cure for this. So, what should I do to protect myself? Well, wash your hands regularly for at least 20 seconds with soap and water or alcohol-based hand rub. Now, cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue, obviously, or flexed elbow when you cough or sneeze. That means probably do that. That you need to know that also after that you need to replace the clothes, because you do that, it still stays on your clothes. So avoid close contact, at least a minimum of 1 meter. Now, this is the hardest in Africa. As I said, we grow up families. Now, in Europe, as the example I said, I was watching on TV where a dad was staying upstairs because they're isolating themselves and the kids are downstairs with the family in the same house trying to fight this thing. Now, the saddest thing, you imagine Africa. Not many people have those luxuries of being able to isolate rooms. Some people are staying 6, 7, 8 people with the kids, and they're all in the same single room because they don't have the alternative. Now, that's why I'm worried about Africa. We need to really, really take this more serious than anybody else, because these countries have been brought to their knees by this virus. What will it do to us in Africa who don't have the facilities that these countries have? They have the financial, capabilities to do bigger things than we do in Africa. So we need to do what we do best. Africans are very creative. Africans are very creative. You give them a tire, they will make shoes out of it. So you do anything. The same thing we need to do. Now, for whatever is coming on, I know it's very hard to lock yourselves in the house. Speaking for Uganda, I heard yesterday from a friend of mine, because I did watch a little bit of President Museveni's address to the public, but I also heard from friends as well that obviously from the 31st that is total lockdown. Nobody gets out, not even taxis, nobody travels. Normally in Africa, especially Uganda, people come to the town to work, but then they have villages. Most of them stay in villages. Not everybody rents in town. So that is hard because they told people to stay wherever they are. Those at work, I don't know, So it's hard. But luckily enough, my friend told me that the government did promise to provide them some food, because the majority of people, you might think, they work for daily bread. So they don't have savings. They don't have anything. Most of them don't even have bank accounts. So they work for daily bread. And if it's not there, they starve at home. Now you can imagine if you're going to lock them for a month or even a week. It's not easy. So it's human nature when the stomach is asking for people to do things that put them at risk. Now, before you do anything stupid, or going out when you're told not to go out, or trying to sneak out, just think that this is you're killing yourself. Not only you're going to kill another 10, 15, 20, 80, who knows? Because anybody you get in contact with could be a potential either transmitter to you or you transmit it to them. Now, that's why we should stay away from other people, keep a safe distance, and listen to what the specialists are saying, please. This message is really to encourage you as well to take it serious as they're saying it, because I know I've had so many stories of people being told, and people complain, why are we doing this? I know we're stubborn, that's what we're known for, but you're not doing it. The governments are doing their best, and they're trying to do their best to save you. But if you make it hard for them to save you, then you're killing yourself and you're killing the rest of us. Not only your family, as you've probably noticed, nobody's immune from this. Whether presidents, whether kings, and the funny thing is, it kills the good and the bad. whether dictators, whether anybody, they are all part of it. So this is the first time that we all need to really work together. Stop playing politics, stop playing religion. We all need to come together and fight this thing as one, as one nation. There is a lot of things going on. Obviously, everything I've been talking about and what we read in the newspaper these days is doom and gloom. So many people die. So some of us, there's a tendency of actually, even when you're the good people that are following the rules and things like that, it's a tendency to slag out, to kind of like relax. If you grow up in an environment that you do the same repetitive thing, chances are you'll be a time where you forget about it because it's become a routine, and then you start deteriorating. Now, this goes to the rules they are trying to put in place to protect us. Please, 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 before you do anything, think, what am I doing? I'll give you an example. Recently, I was downstairs just taking the bin out, and I was checking my car as well outside my gate, and the next door neighbor kids were playing football, and with the family, of course, kids are in the home, they're doing nothing, so they decided to play football, and a ball jumped over the fence and came to the road, and they were screaming at me, please, please send it back to us. Now, I was just about to grab it, and I realized and said, uh-oh. Straight away, it went to my head, and I thought, this family, yes, it's all good intention, but this family, who knows where they work, the husband works, or where the mom works, or where the dad works. But they've been playing football. They might have been sneezing. Of course, they didn't play football and playing, with their gloves on or whatever. No, they were just playing normally, like what kids do. So I was just about to grab the ball and throw it away. But then I realized, and then I had to look for a polythene bag from my cupboard to throw it back. But that made me realize how easy it is to slip out, how easy it is to forget the rules and see stupidly like that, and it takes that small mistake, that stupid mistake to kill your entire family. So please, I urge you, all my Facebook and social media friends and families, to protect your families. Please take the regulations and the rules they're saying serious. Now, on a positive note, because I've been saying so many things that, we've already been seeing on the news. Positively, what can we get out of this? This thing, I believe, comes once in a lifetime. We've all heard, and I was reading about the Spanish flu in 1918 or something like that killed loads and loads and loads of people. Now, for me, when I see a situation like this, it's given you an opportunity, first of all. Of course, some of you might have better ideas. It's given you an opportunity to stay at home. Now, we are used to mobile life because our lives are mobile. If you live in England, it's even worse. Or if you live in a popular city like England, I'm referring to England because I come from London. That's where I grew up most of my life. I know the streets inside out, the things that you do to survive. In London, for example, you live to work. That's how we call it. Very little time for social life, because the bill is waiting. You have to pay this and that and that. So you find yourself, even if you have the good intentions, you find yourself, working like a donkey just to survive, So, and in doing that, you find that you don't have social life. As opposed to the countries, in my opinion, as I say, that I believe what has contributed to this death rate in Spain and Europe could also be that the families are together, because they meet all the time to celebrate. So that catches it. But then sometimes if you live in London, sometimes it could be the opposite. Because I remember I had a chance of working in broadcasting. Well, that was my life. But it was so hard to be able to socialize because I left 5 o'clock in the morning and I came back 10 o'clock in the night every day. So You leave your house, people are sleeping. You come back, people are sleeping. Even those that you live with in the house. Now it's very common in Europe, especially African communities. Most of them work in nursing, they work in the medical field, and they work in security fields and different fields. Now, scenarios like that, you find that maybe the mom works in hospitals, she works nights and days, and the husband does security or something. So you don't get any time to meet. The husband leaves in the morning and the wife is coming back to sleep, and they communicate by notes. This happens even in America, because I know I got my friends in America. They live like that. They live on the phone. Oh, the kids off school and this and that. That's how life. That is different. Obviously, wherever they are, they also get in touch with people. But social life is different. So wherever you are, you need to really take charge of looking after your family. So we have the duty to protect our families. I hope and pray that this doesn't reach as much as it has affected, us, because we've all started in small numbers. We started in 10s and 20s, and then it went on growing. England, they were celebrating, oh, we're still behind, But look, yesterday I saw on the news over 400, and it's going on. So if nothing is done, this rate is going to go on. But this is somebody's grandma, this is somebody's grandpa, this is somebody's mother. All those families. Now imagine living in a society where we don't have our elders. And don't forget, it doesn't kill only the old. Everybody is included in this. So it's up to us to do our job. Positive, I say, this is the time to spend with your family. If you're at home isolated with your family, the kids should benefit a lot from this. Take time to do things that you've never done with your kids or your wife, and celebrate and spend time with each other. Quality family time, which is very hard to get in places like London, like what I was saying, very hard to find quality family time. So this is the time to utilize it. Get the positiveness out of this, because everything in life, whether bad, always has a positive in it. So those of us that are artists, like now, I've started writing a lot of songs. Now, also for me, I feel like it gives us an opportunity, because this happens once in a lifetime, an opportunity to tell stories about our generations, which future generations can read and follow. How nice would it be that they play your songs 200 years after, talking about things, the situation you were going through. The same way we're reading about the past history, it gives you an opportunity now to create your legacy or your history. So artists, writers, write books, describe the situation you're going through around your local area, what is going on, and things like that. So you give an opportunity to people, those of us those that will come after us, or our great grandkids, to study and read about you, and also to know what you went through, and probably to avoid the same mistakes. Now, everybody's putting blame on everybody, because I've been looking at the news. It suggests, it came from China, it did this, and according to some of the documentaries, they said it was spread, but somebody ate animals or a bat or something else that had the virus, and then, because they say that in China that a lot of people are eating animals that usually are not eating things like rats and things like that, so they bring them to the food chain, whereby obviously the diseases for the animals are going to start catching people. So that takes me back to what I was saying, that life, we're always stubborn. We like testing things. Even if they tell you that fire will burn you, we always like to touch it to find out whether it burns. So, my friends and families in Africa, please don't wait for this to happen to you for you to realize that it is serious. Avoid it by staying in the house, by protecting your families, by washing your hands. Avoid unnecessary contacts I know it's hard when you live by day, but as I say, that the president, promised to provide something. And also, this is a cry out to all those people that have more than they need. Not only that nations that are more richer or that are in a situation where they can provide some help to African nations, please step in, because Africa needs saving. At a time like this, who is going to save them? Because if a virus like this went into families that don't even know what social isolation is, you know, and most of these people are in camps and, houses, that slums that are next to each other. They even struggle to get drinking water. And you tell them to lock themselves in the house, So it's not easy. It's not really, really easy. And I understand what everybody is going on. So I cry to those of you that like support. And, obviously this is an opportunity as well for those that have, even back in Africa, if you know you have more than, your neighbors, please step in and see how you can help. Call the right numbers. I think the government obviously would have put up, if you are concerned or if you want to do something, to be able to contact them and get in touch with the right people to try and provide help to your neighbors. As I said, it's time to stop playing politics. It's time to stop playing religion and to take away all our differences. In fact, that's one of the songs I'm doing in one of my new compositions. It says that, it's time to put our differences aside and step in and work together as one nation, because we are all people. We were all born. Nobody came out of their mother's womb and say, I'm going to be a dictator. I'm going to kill. No, we all learn these things while we're on earth. And life dictates that, you are here. You have to be a leader, which is great, but you have to oppress the other. So let's step away from all that and focus on helping one another, simply to survive as a generation, because otherwise there's no cure so far. Now, I want to conclude by saying that if you've never believed in God, this is the time to do so, because such a time as this is when nobody has the solution but only God. Everyone, when they're in hardships and things like that, they run to something. Now, those of us that are Christians, I run to God. And I want to say that this is the time to run to your God and ask for God's guidance and protection, because such a time as this, we need God. We need somebody to save the world. And the only person who can do it is God. God to give wisdom to the scientists who are looking for the cure and things like that. And also God to protect us all. We really need to pray for God to save us all. So wherever you are, use this opportunity as well to come close to God. And on that note as well, I might say that, who knows? Because usually sometimes it takes hard things to get us to kick us off the bench, We are all stubborn, as I've been saying. And in our own stubborn ways, we've managed to fight against each other, to focus on things that we find on earth here. Nations fighting against nations for power, for greed, for money, for all those kind of things. Things that are really, really useless. Yes, we need money, we need things like that to live on a daily, but we start off with good intentions and end up in the wrong places. Now, usually it takes an explosion of things to wake us up. So, one of the opportunities, I think this is what we should take out of this as a wake-up call. Because for so long, we've fought against each other, we've cheated, we've done all sorts of things. Dictators taking over, want rules, no getting off, this and that. Especially in Africa, we have so much of this where people, come in with a good intention, everybody celebrates them. Once they are there, things change. I'm not into politics, but I just want to say that sometimes God brings something to wake you up. So, because in my entire lifetime, this is the first situation that I've witnessed whereby every nation has been brought to the knees because nobody has the solution. Every nation is worried. You look around the news, you find everybody, they're closing doors. They say, oh, total. In fact, I was walking on my streets. I went shopping the other day, and I parked on the street as I was crossing to go to the shopping center. I noticed this street for the first time. I had never seen it that empty. That makes you, it was like a scene that I see in the movies. So that makes you know that this thing is serious. So the only person that can take us out is God. So I urge you to go to your knees and pray for the Creator to step in. And this is probably the situation that will bring us together. And I'm sure once we come out of this, we'll be a different people. And I pray that this makes us learn to work together, and instead of fighting and looking for the negative out of people, but find the positive that bring us together as communities, as societies, to be able to tolerate one another and to learn to work together. So stay safe. Please protect your family members. Don't go out. Remain safe. And I pray that we see each other very soon when we've come out of this as victorious. I'm sure we'll be able to celebrate when we overcome COVID-19. Stay safe, and I love you all. Take care.
When you come all born by one, black or white, red or blue, it doesn't matter. You're my brother, my sister.